over there last time. Okay, same thing, I would have done what I was doing. I'm gonna, after you hit play, then there's a rain, some rain stuff, we don't know.
It's playing, so you know.
That was fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Also arrange it something.
Oh, yeah.
Do we need to show our faces for you, man?
Oh, probably, since there's 3 people.
Clicker's working. Setting up the classroom.
I don't know,
Thanks, Paul.
perfect.
But
Safety.
Scary.
Right, I thought you were just testing me.
Oh, that's scary. There. Well, Mary does better than you did. That was embarrassing. Can't be worse.
So, yeah, I wouldn't count. All right,
12:30 start time.
my name is Mary Dirkes. Today we're going to learn about structural search and rescue. A couple of housekeeping things first. Emergency exits here, here, and over there. That'll how you get to the bathrooms, that door back there. Go straight through the kitchen, the bathroom's right there on the right, there's also a water fountain out there. This you need any water. If you want coffee, there's coffee out there too, but, recent spill in the classroom, so we're not allowed to drink coffee anymore. But you can drink all the coffee you want. Alright. And we'll get started here.
See them in your crunch.
The first objective we're gonna go over, we're gonna explain best practices to ensure firefighter survival during interior operations. So, recognize potential hazards. Obviously, like, place down the floor, that's why you look in places where you go, look for electrical lines, whatever, all sorts of stuff. Hot tubs in the living room, who knows? We're gonna go over rescue officer type firefighters and escaping unavoidable hazards, so that's gonna deal with, calling our maydays. So you wanna keep situational awareness about you, it can be hard to do sometimes because we get so focused on trying to find the fire, trying to find the victim, or whatever our assigned task is. Obviously, the first thing we usually try to do on scene is to locate the fire, keep the fire out. Pretty much stop the main hazard for anyone who's in that building, including us. So you just gotta pay attention to the changing environment around you, fire spread, heat changes, if you're feeling heat in a room, but you don't see any active fire in. Probably indication that there's fire below you. Visibility level changes, all of a sudden the smoke turns super black and it's hard to see. Probably need to notify the IC and make some changes. So, again, situational awareness, so this is gonna be stuff that you're gonna be telling the ICs, it's important for them to know so they can make operation changes if necessary. So if you find victims, tell them where you found them and how many, where they're located, because if someone outside said that their kid is in a bedroom, but you're finding people down in the basement, you probably still need someone to search that bedroom. Your air supply, we communicate at bingo air, so we will tell our AC, you tell your captain, they'll tell the IC. That is usually when you'll leave the structure, depending on what you're doing. If you're just pulling ceiling right by the exit, doing some overhaul, they'll probably let you continue, especially if you tell them, hey, we only need like 2 more minutes on this. We're right here by the exit. You gotta know your safe havens and your alternate exit routes. So just because you went in the front door, doesn't mean you have to go out the front door. Back doors, windows. You can call for ladders and stuff on second story floors. And, indications of collapse. Like I said, we're sounding the floor, make sure the floor is still there. People on the outside are always looking at the roof. They'll probably put the ladder up, do a roof report, make sure the roof's not caving in or anything like that, that it's stable. So there are ways that you personally can make sure that you are prepared for survival. So practicing your firefighter techniques. We come down to Hyde Park. We practice all sorts of things, from hose movement to throwing ladders to getting in and out of windows. Just make sure those skills are sharp, because when you are in a fire situation, you're gonna fall back on your training. So if you train in not a very realistic way, that's what you're gonna try to do. It's probably not gonna work out. So just doing those, even if just little stuff at the station, like crawling around in Station 1's basement with an airbag, or looking for an airbag. So anticipating types of survival situations, so we know, we have our entrapment prop. We practice our maydays for running out of air, for falling through the floor, different things like that that could happen. For air emergencies, we have a whole air management SOP that you get taught when you first get hired. And you can always look back on that in Lexipol. Like I said, we practice Mayday and self-rescue, those props we have. Checking your own air supply, your team members' air supply, so before you go in, you want to make sure that your gauge is ready full, and then you open your bottle all the way, because if you don't open your bottle all the way, and you breathe it down, eventually it's gonna close that valve, that actually happens someone on fire, so. You also wanna make sure that the person going in with you is doing the same thing. And then, like I said, practicing those basic skills so they're automatic, but practicing them in a way that's gonna be beneficial on the fire ground. So we were talking about situational awareness again. Don't get tunnel vision. Pay attention to the changing environment around you. Listen into radio traffic. They might be putting other crews in other places in the building, or they might be finding things that might change your strategy. Or there might be fire somewhere else that you initially didn't know about. So physiological effects, you can get disoriented, obviously. I think we've all been in a structure fire where we thought the layout of a house was one way, and the fire's out, you're going in doing overhaul. It's not at all how you thought it was in your mind, so it can be easy to get disoriented when you can't see. Fear sometimes, obviously, if you can't see, you don't know where you are, you can become fearful of getting lost in there, getting stuck. Claustrophobia, same thing. A lot of these houses have a lot of stuff in them. We practice in usually pretty open rooms, just because that's what you can burn in safely. But when you're going in there, especially mortar situations where you've got just, 3 beds in the living room for some reason, and all sorts of stacks of boxes and whatnot. And all that can obviously lead to panic. All these things are obviously things you want to try to avoid. And so Mayday situations, so the biggest thing is knowing when to call Mayday. Most people probably wait too long because you obviously don't want to call it, you want to get out. But if you truly need to be rescued, you need to notify people as soon as possible so we can start getting people your way and start figuring out how to help you. Reasons we call air emergencies. You're getting low on air, or your SCBA gets messed up, something happens, and you don't have the air supply you're supposed to. Getting lost, getting disoriented. Like I said, you're in a environment with little to no visibility. It's usually pretty loud in there, and they're usually places you've never been before, especially if they're houses. Yeah, we don't go into everyone's house, so entanglement, wires and things falling from the ceiling and whatnot. A lot of people carry cutters in their pockets for that reason. Rapid fire development, all of a sudden, fires bigger than we thought. You know, we've gone on a couple of fires, but ended up being fully involved basement fires that we did not realize were that way. And we really got everyone pulled out once we realized how involved the fire actually was. Then obviously collapse between traffic falling through the floor into the basement. Ceiling falling on you, big heavy furniture, you know, who knows, all sorts of stuff. So principles of air management, we're pretty big on that. Again, like I said, we always on bingo air, tell your captain will tell you guys. Anytime you're leaving a structure, whether it's for air management reasons or just because you're done with your task, whatever it is, you always notify the IC that you are leaving and how many people you're leaving with. That way they can just keep track if you're inside or not. That way if something goes wrong, they know how many people are inside, who's inside, and roughly where they are. And knowing your point of return, again, that's why we do that bingo air, because the idea is if it took you half your bottle to get where you are, probably take half your bottle to get out. We do make exceptions to that again, especially with like overhaul, and there's not a lot of as much danger. And if you're right there by the exit, you're like, I'm looking out the front door, you know, we just need 5 more minutes. They'll usually let you go on that. Yep, you check your pressure gauge. We're entering your IDLH environment. It should be full. If it's not, we got a problem. Probably fix that for you. And we're moving from one area to the other. So we have heads up displays. So as long as that's working, those are pretty good. So you can just glance down at those while you're working the whole time you're in the structure and kind of know where you are. And captain's usually pretty good about asking you, you know, hey, where's everybody at, whatever. And you can just tell them 1 green, 2 greens, or you're on bingo air. And that will be communicated. So yeah, after heavy periods of work. So if you're doing something really strenuous, you know you're sucking in a lot of air, look down, just do a real quick check on where you're at. It doesn't hurt to check your gauge every once in a while, even though we have those heads up displays, just in case something does go wrong with that heads up display. So yeah, when you're resting before beginning your assignment, so anytime you leave the structure, you're always going to check. Because you can get a new bottle, you can recycle while you're out there if need be, or if your task took you 2 minutes and everyone's good on air, then you'll probably be reassigned pretty quickly. So air consumption varies widely between individuals. We all know that. Some people are in really good shape, some people not so much, some people are just, yeah. Some people are just really big people, big, you know, have really big lungs. Unlike Casey, he always told me he had very small lungs, so he's very efficient. So yeah, so all those bottles, ours are 45s, I believe our brick packs are 100 or 100 an hour. But obviously we all know it's not gonna last 45 minutes if you're in there just really putting it to work, but if you're, you know, sitting on the ground, you can make them last more than 45 minutes. So air management in emergency, never leave your team. Now, if they're having an emergency, you need to call a mayday. You're gonna call the mayday and you're gonna stay with them, especially if they aren't gonna be much help with getting themselves out or much help with communicating. You might have to deal with communicating about where you are and what happened. And best way for crews to find you. Never leave people in the hazard zone. So if they do go unconscious, anything like that, drag them out to different room, bedroom, whatever, somewhere not directly by the fire. And obviously you're gonna maintain communications to the IC. So if you have. You had being aware, like I said, that person who didn't turn their bottle on all the way. This captain just told the IC, hey, we're having air issues, we're coming out right now. Didn't call Mayday because they didn't need help, they knew exactly how to get out, they weren't that far from the door. They had a crew behind them. Passed them on through. And then he knew that he needed to send someone else in there. So, best solutions for your air management problems, staying low to the ground. Like I said, ensuring your valve's open, you can turn your bypass on if you need more air real quick. Flushing the base will also help with the fogging of your mask if you need that. But you can conserve air by doing skip breathing, like we were all taught. Early school. We all know to stay low to the ground, I mean, stay under the smoke and heat the best you can. We have, right now, we have a buddy breathing system to where we can hook up to each other. I believe our new air patch will not have that. But as of right now, we could still do that if, the person with you is suddenly super low on air. Yeah. Again, if you have an air emergency, try to shelter yourself from the IDLH environment. Don't sit right next to the fire, obviously. Get into a different room, you can get out of the structure, that's the best scenario. But if you can't, getting into a different room or different area away from the fire is best. So we're sheltering in place, so if you can't get out, you can call Mayday. Remain calm, control your breathing. And go to an uninvolved nearby room if possible. Close the door, which that's what sheltering in place is. So you can shine a light, make noise, draw attention. Obviously, your fast device will draw attention, but you're gonna want to set that off after you do your radio traffic, because no one will hear your radio traffic if that's going. And continue to communicate, so. Talking to Etsy, giving them as many clues, if you figure out where you didn't know where you were at first, and then you figured out, oh, we're in this bedroom, we're in this room, whatever. More than likely a crew that's already inside is probably gonna be who's helping you. And so you can be listening to their radio traffic too, if they say, oh, we're just 2 doors over, come down the hall now, or whatever. To hear things like that, so you just pay attention to the radio traffic. And try to tell them as best as you can where you are, what you need. While you're sheltering in place, like I said, activate your passive device, do it after you talk on the radio. Someone will be able to hear you. If you're completely alert and conscious and able to move around, you're just like lost or you can't leave the room that you're in. You may not necessarily need your pass device, but again, you're gonna wanna talk on the radio, you're gonna try to give as much information, and you're gonna wanna listen to the information that they're giving. You can still yell out intermittently, things like that, if you hear them. You can say on the radio, hey, I can hear you guys out in the hallway, like you're right there. And yeah, just isolate yourself from that fire department. And hopefully whoever the fire attack crew is, it wasn't you guys, but they are continuing to fight that fire. Because that's gonna make everything better, right? If they put the fire out, most of our hazard goes away. And then we have more time to try to get whoever's sheltering in place. All right, so for objective 3, we're gonna describe structural search and rescue operations. We'll go over search methods, search preparation, safety guidelines, fire isolation procedures, search markings, primary and secondary search. Who you report to? Immediately, obviously, you're gonna report to your captain, but IC ultimately is who we're gonna report to on most of our structure fires. And make sure you got your portable radio on. We all have portable radios. We're required to wear them in any IDLH environment. And in fact, we're supposed to be on a fireground channel anytime you enter IDLH environment. Even if the person who's gonna be IC has not showed up yet, you still have to be on typically fireground 1, and then your driver will monitor fire main and fireground 1 and try to relay some of that radio traffic. Thankfully, that doesn't happen very much because that sounds like that would be quite the time to be that person and be trying to pump the structure drive. Make sure SCBA is turned on, working. Things full, cylinder gear. Like I said, check your gauge. Make sure you turn it all the way on. Put your regulator in before you walk into the IDLH environment, because it's gonna be way harder to do it when you can't see and there's smoke everywhere and, you know, you're trying to do other things. Just clip in right before you go in the house. Pass device turn on working. So ours integrated into our pack. So if our pack is on and, you know, all the electronic things are working, our pass device is gonna be working. So it automatically comes on with our bottles. So knowing assigned duties and tactical objectives. So your captain should be telling you what you guys are doing before you enter. You'll probably get the IC say it over the radio. But this is also a good reason to train with your crews and train on what you're gonna do. You know, what do you guys typically do for a search? Who typically has what role? And that you guys are working with the same lingo. So when your captain tells you to do something, you understand what they're doing, because sometimes people use words to mean different things. So just knowing everyone's on the same page. Being aware of alternative means of egress. Like I said, if you go in the front door, you don't have to go out the front door. Knowing where back doors are, if it's a walkout garage, is it a peek out, look out, you know, all of those things. So if you're going into the basement, are you gonna have to come back up the stairs, or are there windows or doors you can go out? You know, obviously you can go out windows on any floor, but if you're on a second floor higher, you're probably gonna call for a ladder. So gathering knowledge of building floor plans, so you obviously can't go in every building in the city, and that's gonna be more for, commercial buildings. You can't go in everybody's houses. There are houses that we go in a lot. But we, I think, do a really good job of this when it comes to inspections, because we get to walk around all of these businesses, see where their exits are, see where they are, and I think we do a pretty good job on structure fires that I've heard several times where people are like, this is a place that I go to all the time. This is where the rooms are. This is how you get back to, you know, whatever, wherever they're trying to go. And on our US Rinsett fire, the guy who works there actually came up to us before we went in and said, the fire's in the bathroom, and how you get to the bathroom, go in and go left through the door. And then you're gonna go right, and you're gonna go past the steps, and that's where it is. And he was right, that sure was where it was. So that was helpful too. Because you're probably not gonna look at building floor plans sitting in front of the structure while it's on fire. So if you have information about a building, you're not the first in crew, obviously feel free to share that. Help them out. And like I said, going through inspections, that typically really helps. And I know sometimes when we find really weird things in buildings, like going through Madison's Cafe's basement, we try to share that with other people. Some necessary tools, you know, forcible entry, tan lights, ticks, search line. We don't really use search lines. We do have them, and we have trained on them, but that's gonna be for really large area search. Most of our fires, you're not gonna, most of the fires we run on our bread and butter ones, we're not gonna use a search line. They're usually houses or small businesses. Hand lights, we got 2 in every truck, so no reason not to have that. I think most people have flashlights on their gear, on their helmets, and their jackets both. Forcible entry tools. That's a big one, because someone wants to get to the front door with the hose and realize they can't get in and have to go back to the truck. If you're doing search, the fire tester is probably already made entry, and if you can go through that door, that's probably the best way to go, if it will be access where you're trying to search. Obviously, if you're trying to search second floor, you can't get there from the front door, for whatever reason, that's gonna be different. You're gonna need to bring tools to break the window. And then ticks, we got 2 on every truck. I think most crews have a plethora of ticks. They're great. We'll talk about those later more. But yeah, like I said, buildings under construction. I was with Billy, so we went to a lot of buildings under construction because he was having to do the new fire inspections on them. So that can certainly be helpful. I know we've done department-wide training at both the high schools, both public high schools, when Cap City got built and then when JC got remodeled. We walked through there just so we have some sort of idea what's going on. Not just for fires, but medical emergencies, fire alarms, when the sprinkler pops off at JC every year when it gets too cold. Everything like that. I know I've walked through different buildings on the park. I believe they also did Special Olympics when they built theirs. So that's always helpful, and most building owners are usually super accommodating to that. Because they're like, yeah, if something happens, I want you to be as effective as possible. And especially if you tell them this might save you money, they're super agreeable to that usually. So observing structures, so like I said, we don't obviously it's going everybody's houses. But I know I've been on several trucks where you drive around and you look at a house and you'll go, okay, do you think that's a split floor? Or do you think that's a house, or do you think those have been turned into apartments? You know, just different things like that of what to look for on the outside to best decide what the inside probably looks like. That doesn't always work, but sometimes, especially downtown with older homes, they've been remodeled and cut up and changed so much that you would never guess what they would look like. But for the most part, it gives you a good idea of like where the stairs can be located, right? Is that a bathroom or is that a bedroom? Things like that we can look for. Hotels, I think we've all been in all the hotels. I know they let us do trainings in there, and we typically we run calls in there for fire alarms and medical emergencies and things like that. So they're also, again, super helpful. Totally fine with us touring and using their hotels. Tools and equipment. Like I said, flashlights, ticks, forcible entry tools, portable radios, rope for search lines, ladders, and charge hose lines. So we don't typically take charge hose lines in on our searches because there's usually someone else with a charge hose line doing fire attack. But when you are doing fire attack, I mean, you're still doing a little bit of primary search while you're looking for fires. Obviously, you see a victim, you're gonna pull them out, and we're gonna step over them, be like, nope, we're just fighting fire. So, you getting ticks, we got them on, we got 2 on every truck. Portable radios, everyone's got their own. I don't know why. You would have quite the talking to if you went to a structure fire without a portable radio on. Think how much emphasis we put on them lately. So, the ladders, if you're gonna do like a VEIS going through a window, obviously you're gonna need that and make sure that you're grabbing the right one. The ladder other ladders have more choices for ladders. If a 24-foot extension ladder is not gonna work, it's legally allowed to grab that. So ticks, they're great for searching. They can help locate the fire too, and they can help locate hot spots. We use them a lot when we mainly use them, I think, when we it smells like smoke, it smells like burning, those sort of calls, and you get in there and there's like a little bit of like smoke and you're trying to figure out what's up, what's happening, what are we doing here? But yeah, on that, US Rented fire, I was like staring right at the fire and couldn't see it, and I knew it had to be there because I could see it through the hole in the wall that it burned on the other side. And Lisa kept saying, it's right there. And she pulled the tick in front of my face and you could see the flames in the tick, but you couldn't see it without the tick because there's just so much black smoke from all the oil and chemicals and whatnot they had back there. So that was the one fire ever been in that you couldn't see the flames, just, yeah, without the tick. We use to locate victims and hidden fires, so we usually always use an actor to put the fire out, check for extinction, looking, ceilings and walls, and, you know, seeing if things are hot, where we need to concentrate our overhaul too. Unless you're on our shift and you don't concentrate our overhaul, we just overhaul everything. Safety. And, it can be helped to locate victims, and also can be helped to look at layouts of rooms to see couches and chairs and beds and things like that. But there are some downfalls to them. If everything in the room is super saturated with heat and everything's gonna be super hot, it's not gonna be super helpful, obviously, as it needs that temperature differential. It can't see, you know, through glass or water reflective surfaces, that's not very off. You may not be able to detect fire, any carpets, things like that. Obviously, if a person's behind an object, it's not gonna see through the object and see that person. But they can be great, especially in search situations, when a captain can stay anchored to an anchor point and watch their crew go throughout the room. And then that's how you know, things can become better too. Yeah, as I said, enhance the situational awareness, you can see heating things they may not notice. Can improve visibility, again, if it's, everything's not super saturated. And maybe useful with victims or hidden fires, things like that. So for your ticks, you're gonna want to obviously inspect them. The driver should be checking them every time they do their truck checks, making sure they're charged. They're clean, they're in working order. We do have 2 ticks now, and I know I spend like 5 minutes of my truck check trying to find those 2 ticks because people put them everywhere. Some people put them in cup holders or up on the dash, or, you know, clip them different places, put them on the packs and things like that. So it is always good to make sure they're charged, so they don't always get put back on the charger. And all the ticks we have now, I believe except for some of the reserve trucks, don't have replaceable batteries. So if it goes dead, it's dead. It needs a charger. You can't just replace the battery. Because that battery needs to be sealed. So obviously, if it doesn't work, you report it, you probably get sent down here to pick up one off the reserve apparatus. And it should not be relied upon for all the information. Like I said, there are things that can't see through. If it's super saturated, it's not gonna work. Everything's super hot. But they're pretty useful tools. If you know what you're looking for and what to avoid. So, search safety guidelines. Do not enter a truck room, survivors are not likely to be found. We talk about that all the time. About livable space where exit rooms fully involved. Probably not anyone alive in there. But there could be people still in different rooms, different floors, different areas of the house or building that doesn't really have any fire involvement, right? So we can search those areas. But you know, you're not gonna go into a fully involved trailer to try to save someone because there's not gonna be safe.
What's it gotta be a trailer?
I think that's what the picture is. And because those reindeer are going to be fully involved in it. No, I know. So closing doors for protective areas. And avoid creating additional flow paths. So if you're entering a house, structure, whatever that's on fire, don't just leave the door open. You're gonna want to try to close it. Don't break windows for the fun of it. I think we've all been told that in a million classes now because they used to do that. There's literally like one person who's got to go around and break all the windows, which sounds super fun. We would love to have that though. But it does great things for the fire and helps it tremendously. It helps us nothing. So just be able to and yes, maintaining control of exterior doors and control ventilation. So if you're fortunate, you want to try to close it best you can after you force it afterwards. So there's possibility of rapid fire development, so intent, entry until coordinated fire control and ventilation have been implemented to always coordinate fire control and ventilation, because you don't want to start ventilation, but there's still a ton of fire. So you can get ready for it and get fans off and get things like that ready. Don't actually start it until the inside fire tech room calls for it. Don't freelance, don't just start doing whatever you want. Make sure people know what you're doing, told you what you're doing, and people know where you are. Nothing will upset a captain more than if they turn around and cannot find you on a fire scene. Trust me, not only will you hear about that, everyone will hear about that. Maintaining radio contact with the ice lead. You just gotta let them know what's going on, because they're in charge, they're making the calls. And it's hard to do that if they don't have all the information, because they can't see what we can see. You gotta tell them what you're seeing. And monitoring radio traffic, so listening to what the other crews are telling the IC, listening to what the IC is telling them, and it may have to change your operations. And obviously, continue to monitor fire conditions and use our accountability system, which for us is the passport system. We have tags velcroed to our helmets, put on the passport when we get on the truck. And then typically the captain will take them to the IC and then put them on the little board. We also, anytime you're going into a structure, you're gonna tell them you're going in with how many people. Anytime you're coming out, you're gonna tell them you're coming out. By the time. And then we do cars every 20 minutes. While we're on scene, we tell location, how many people we got. So we're entry point, secondary egress, where you said this, I think twice, but you don't have to go out where you came in. So know anywhere other exits are. Be helpful when you're searching, if you find windows, things like that. You can call them out in case you. Wear your full PPE, including a CBA and pass device. I don't know why you would conduct a search inside a burning building without your PPE and SCBA on, but definitely do that. I don't know that anyone would do that anymore. I guess, some of the older people used to wear, I know I had a captain who refused to wear his pneumatic set or his structural firefighting gloves. Because he needed to have more dexterity and mobility, I don't know, but he didn't. But I think everyone now is pretty good about it. Working in teams of 2 or more, and always remaining in visual vocal contact. So we don't ever go in without at least 2 people. Most of the time it is 2 people, unless you're later riding truck, then you might have your driver with you and have 3 people. And physical, visual, or vocal contact. You don't have to stay in physical contact. I know that used to be the standard of crawling on the ground and holding up with ankles. That is no longer the standard, but actually just been changed. I believe our newest guys are going through the first iteration of that in rookie school right now. A lot of this has been changed. So for visual contact, like I said, we were talking about ticks. Captains can have those ticks and be looking out and you can watch, their crews of the whole, room area, multiple rooms, and you can keep contact with them that way, see where they are. And vocal contact, so being able to yell at each other, making sure that they're, hey, what do you got, what do you see, yelling out. They found a victim, if they found another door that goes to another room, then they might need you to bump up so you go search that room. Those things are totally okay, you don't have to be in physical contact anymore. Sometimes the area is very small and you will be in physical contact and you don't have much of a choice. Or reaching out to them. I know we were doing a drill and Matt reached out and grabbed Clay to tell him that he was back at the door where we were, and he was like, "Oh, cool, made it back to you." He said, "Yep, you did the whole room." We went back out, so. Encounter fire, close the door, report the condition. So that's obviously talking about if you don't have a hose line, do you have a hose line? Put the fire out. But this would be assuming you're searching. So closing the door and reporting that condition to the IC so they know. They may not know that fire's in that area. Or they might. But either way, it's good to know. Closing doors is a big one. We talk about to the public all the time, about sleeping with their doors closed. Because it is amazing how much those doors will actually stop fire. I'm sure we've all seen the pictures of like fully involved fires that were in the kitchen and the living room and even burned to the roof. And then you look like 2 feet down the hallway and the bedroom is totally fine because the door's closed. So that would be super important and super helpful. And then searching systematically. So don't just go into a room and like walk around, right? You gotta orient yourself, especially when you can't see, you've never been in there before. Finding the wall just to figure out, okay, this is how far the room is. Finding the couch, chairs, tables, other furniture, making your way along those. And starting from one point, so you'll end back where you started, so you know you got everything. Obviously, visibility is low, limited. You're gonna stay low, move cautiously. You've always been taught, sound the floor. And now we're definitely taught, you can duck walk or you can be on one knee and scooting yourself across, keeping your chest up. That way you're not going face first in the holes and things like that. There's just a better position. So continually monitor it, integrity, things like that. I know one of the structures we got pulled out of when we were coming out the floor, actually, you could feel it like sag. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, we got pulled out of that building because we knew it was gonna collapse, and it did fairly shortly after. But, so just communicating that to your IC, if the floor is starting to get real soft, let them know, because, we gotta get people out of there. Make different plans. Marking entry doors and remembering the direction you turn. That's gonna be more so for large area search. We're not gonna do that in a residential structure fire. Small little house, but remembering where you turn is still good. Yeah, but not necessarily needing to mark the doors. That is seen a lot for like natural disasters, right? Floods and tornadoes and things like that. They'll mark the houses after they search them. Maintaining contact with the wall, clothesline, or search line. The wall can be good, but even couches, things like that. A lot of furniture in people's houses are pushed up against the walls. So you can maintain contact with the couch, and you need to turn around, you just turn around and follow the couch back out, and it'll lead you to the wall eventually. So just maintaining your orientation. But you don't have to stay right on it. If you can reach out, check the middle of the room, and know that you can slide right back and touch that couch, touch that wall, whatever it may be, know that you're still oriented. All right, we'll do this last slide and then we're gonna take a break. So having staff charged hose lines available when working on the fire floor or floors immediately above and below. Obviously, if you're close to the fire, someone needs to have water somewhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be you. It can be a different crew. But you don't want to just be right next to the fire and not having water. So, like I said, we went over that too. Don't just go around breaking windows. I think everyone knows that. That's kind of an old school thing. We realized we were helping the fire out a lot, not helping us out a lot. So that is all gonna be a very coordinated effort. And then just keeping your supervisor, the IC, in the IC immediately informed. If you find rooms that can't be saved. And we always tell them once we search, primary all clear, secondary all clear, whichever one it is you've been sent on. So we'll go ahead and take a 10-minute break and we will meet back at 12:30 or 1:30, sorry, 1:30. $1:15.
For it.
1:25.
Maybe 30. He thought I paid for it, so you're talking, I'm paying for everything.
Oh, everything was.
Yours too.
Just tell me who I owe. I'm not.
I'm fucking paying for it, Polly.
I doubt they watch the break. I do.
I paid.
Did they give you a deal? Oh, yeah, a little bit.
A little bit,
$3
yeah.
for a week. I thought it was gonna be like half off or something.
I thought it was gonna be at least like. And then. Oh, we were supposed to pay you? Yeah.
My card didn't go
Yeah.
through.
You gave me a junk card. Fucking bounce that. God. Well, no, I got,
And I doubt it's anyway.
I got here. I went to go grab the bag
You want some of this?
and the bag ripped and everything.
It's good. It's like sweet, not spicy sweet, and not really spicy.
So then gathered everything up. And then I picked up the drinks and then dropped his drink. So he's only got about half a drink left.
Yeah. Got cubes in it.
The barbecue sauce rolled past the burn building.
That did.
Yeah. It was gone. I almost said, no, I'm not gonna get it, but I went and got it.
Yeah, let's just got it mixed up right.
What's that? That's good, isn't it?
Wrong. Yeah.
It's like a weird blend of barbecue sauce and salsa. But it's good, I think.
Oh.
I actually want to thank you guys for having me down here, so I've been getting a lot of invoices done. I've been trying to do this for like, 10 weeks. It's break, during breaks.
Oh, man, these are something. Yeah, when I first did instructor class, it was a 5-minute and a 15-minute presentation. Or wasn't it 2 hours?
2 hour, I remember when Blomberg did his, instructor 2, so I think it was a 2 hour deal, maybe 1 hour,
Maybe that's what this is now.
but we were all like zoned out. He did it over physical fitness. And we were all just zoned out, like,
Well, the instructor we had, didn't he say like 3.5 to 4 hours? He kept saying that, and that's why I was like, man, if we have to do a 3.5 to 4 hour presentation.
yeah.
I think it said 2 was the minimum for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember, 3 was the maximum or. All I heard was minimum. I didn't even hear a maximum number.
It's crazy that they make you actually video it, like record it.
Yeah. What I was worried about with ours is getting ours done before the April class. There's gonna be a bunch of people trying to do this.
It's an internal one.
We don't.
Oh, are they doing an internal one?
Yeah. After we did this.
Cried on it for 2
Yeah,
years.
they finally set up one.
Yeah, I've been asking for 2 years for an internal one.
Yeah, it's in April then. That's why I want to get ours done.
Yeah.
Not have to mess with that.
Lane, you gotta do 1403.
Yeah, and that,
Buy one with bagel.
leave it. I don't know.
Oh, so I'll eat it later. Can I have some time?
That's foods are peanut shit. It's-
The dogs.
Some dogs. What do you call a big corn dog like you at the fair? What do you guys call them?
Corn dog.
There's,
There's their corn dog.
Have corn dog.
I forgot what we would call them Pronto pups. Never heard that. But there's another name. So I moved up to Northern Illinois, called them Pronto pups. No, those are called something else.
Birthday party today. Yeah.
Is it his birthday?
No.
Oh, no, nobody.
He was like, you gotta skip out on your kid's birthday? Did you do that?
No, that's in December. I already got that off.
Volleyball going.
I don't know if they just started being. They haven't asked, but
Here we go.
There's 3 might be going that bad boy. 50-foot lift that shut off at 40 feet while cutting a tree. Can't get the lift to start back up. They have emergency. Yeah, they run out of shits on those, don't they?
Who's on engine on Jordan? Yeah, he'll know how to. Well, should not have to mess with that too.
Too bad Clay's not there, Clay probably.
They would just get it back up and run
Yeah.
properly. Well, not properly, but it'd back up.
It'd be running on propane.
Not how it's supposed to, but.
Get down. So someone rented it from US Rents it. That is unless they. They're not going over too far or something, you know.
Yeah.
That's a little harder, but.
I misplaced my water bottle, and I've never been so dehydrated in my life.
free. At about 40 feet, and set off if he's unable to get it and start back up.
Great feeling.
Let's jump.
I have a whole different problem. Aren't they 40 feet in the air? Second roll.
Minor details.
Okay. Let's go back and go ahead and start. Fire explosion, locating and isolating a fire, must be a fire release. For any search. May be accomplished in a number of ways. Entering search provides a ventilation opening, when ensuring fire does not spread via high priority. So. Yeah. First crew on scene, they're probably gonna be the attached crew. Unless they're people hanging out of windows, when they're gonna start throwing ladders, obviously. 9 times out of 10, they're the fire tech crew, they go in. We're pretty lucky, all of our trucks usually get on scene pretty close to each other. So you're not gonna be on scene too long without having other crews there to do other tasks. Maybe in some of deep in 5 or 2 area, you might have a little bit before someone gets there. For most of the city, it takes almost no time at all for at least one of the trucks to be there. We talked about it, but when entering the search, do your best to control those openings. Obviously, if you're breaking a window, try to control that. If you can, close the door inside the room. If you just broke the window into. That'll help you with your search, and it'll also help keep from pulling the fire toward you. So marking doors, again, this is not something I've never been on a scene that we've done this. This is typically for, you know, big area search or big natural disasters, things like that. Different marking systems. You know, you single slash it when you go in, finish the X when you come out, so people know that it's been done. You put who did it and the time, any hazards, and if there are victims inside. Again, you're not gonna do that in structure fire, in a house fire. There's just no reason to do that. So primary search. Primary searches are rapid, fast, but thorough. We try to get about 80%. It's typically what we shoot for. And that can happen before or during fire suppression. So you're looking for victims pretty quickly. We know where a lot of them tend to be. They tend to be in the egress pathway, it's right inside the door, down hallways. They also tend to be in their beds, on the couches, things like that, especially if it's nighttime. So look in those areas, check them fast. They're not moving furniture, they're not doing anything crazy like that. Because after you have a primary all clear, a different crew will be assigned for secondary. So, like I said, you're gonna check where you know victims are gonna be nighttime, most likely they're gonna be back in their bedrooms. Or they could be on the couch, on chairs like that, but typically they're somewhere they're gonna be sleeping. Little kids like to hide, so checking under beds is important. In closets, you know, throwing clothes wide open, doing a quick swoop in your arm. Check for anyone in there hiding. You only sort of continue, maintaining contact. So a secondary search, that's typically gonna be after fire's under control. It's slower, more methodical. Secondary search is where we typically find a lot of our cats and dogs, because cats can hide virtually anywhere, in places that we're not gonna be looking in primary searches, because they're not places that humans can fit.
We're not saying that cats are less important.
We're not saying they're less important, we're saying they're harder. And typically alive. They hide and they usually do a pretty good job of surviving, picking up cabins and having to pull them out of the carpet, because they don't wanna. Yeah, get them out of cabinets and things like that. My cat, you won't have to save him, he probably set the fire so he could be let out, so. You don't have to worry about that, just open the door. Goose will find it. So yeah, you're ensuring no occupants are overlooked during primary search. So doing a really good searching, this is done after fires under control. So you're gonna have much better visibility. You're not gonna have smoke and all of that to deal with, and you're under less of a time crunch, so it can be more relaxed. And it's usually conducted by someone else that didn't do the primary search, because they don't want you to just go back and do the exact search that you did the first time, right? You want to use fresh set of eyes to maybe pick up on things you missed. But you still use a systematic approach, checking beds, make sure you get all the way around the room, checking cribs, checking couches, opening up closets, things like that. You're going down the hallway, doing every bedroom as you come to it, not skipping bedrooms and getting distracted. And you don't take off your STD until it's determined safe to do so. So especially now with all our smoker thefts, we're wearing STDs much longer than we used to be, even during a lot of our overhauls and stuff like that. And we'll typically get told when you can take them off, because our monitoring will happen before that. So left-handed search pattern, sure we were all taught that in the room academy. Go into a door, you go left, you find the wall, you make your way around the room. That's just a systematic way to make sure that you are going all the way around the room, that you're not just like walking in, spinning in circles and leaving. You want to make sure you're getting all the way around the room, but you do want to make sure that you're getting the center of the room too. So you don't have to stay glued to that wall, but just kind of knowing where that wall is. So you can orient yourself. You don't get too far away from it, because that's where you're likely gonna find furniture, especially in bedrooms. Most beds are up against the wall, so you'll be able to find those. So if you're searching the fire floor, you're gonna start as close to the fire as possible and work your way out. And then proceed as directly as possible from entry to reach point nearest the fire. Obviously for time and air management, all those things, and the quicker you find people, obviously the better off we're gonna be. Hose line or search line with right away to remain oriented. I'm sure we all got taught, in rookie school about feeling the couplings and knowing which way the hose is going so you can get out. That can be a great way to find your way out, because you know the hose is going out outside. The 2-team search. You're going down the hallway, one team can take one side, one team can take the other side. This is gonna be used probably for really big buildings, some like state buildings and hotels and like 10 and 12 Jackson. Doing searches like this. If you don't have 2 teams, you make your way all the way down the hallway. Turn around and make your way down the other side, just so you can keep track of what rooms you've gone in, and it's easier. So you're gonna control egress pathways. So station firefighter the door or the search room, control the door, so we do that. A lot where we will anchor our captains, typically they're the captains at the door. Send the crew in to the search. If you get lost, they probably haven't taken probably see you and tell you how to get back to them. Or just voice contact, you can listen to where they are and make it back to them, get back to where you're supposed to be. And they can kind of pay attention to what's going on a little bit outside the door as well. So you can focus on your search. And close doors to adjacent rooms after they're searched. So we find adjoining rooms, or typically they're gonna be bathrooms in most houses. After they search and close them. In case you did miss someone, you can check them in there, but also help you remember that you were in that room. So. Obviously, the hose team, so whoever's on the hose, they're gonna be fighting the fire. Trying to cool down the environment as best as possible. When we talk about the voltages, we use them for victims and fires and, like I said, keeping track of your crew. So trying to get a little bit of floor to confirm your survey, so we talked about that too, where you try to lay as low as you can. Sometimes people do that when after they force the door, the front door, lay as low as they can, try to see what they can see. If they can see furniture, see if there's a door in the back or anything like that. Cause it's, you know, you're gonna be low in the smoke. You can also see people laying on the ground. And do a quick down and dirty, run in, grab them, pull them out. They're right inside the door, lower thing. Or like I said, a layout of the room. So you don't always have to crawl. I think we get in the habit of crawling or, you know, being down on our knees. Because that's how we train, right? Because anyone can walk into a room and walk around the room, so we don't usually train on that much, but crawling and trying to move the hose and move all the gear and everything you're doing, that can take some practice, so that's usually how we train. But if you walk into a structure and there's no smoke or very minimal smoke, it's gonna be much more efficient for you to just walk around, because that's how we do it every day. It's gonna be easier. And then obviously, if it's super hot or super smoky, you're gonna wanna get low to the ground, better visibility, can't see your hand in front of your face. It's gonna be hard to walk around in that pit stuff. So, like I said, victims found in paths of egress. A lot of times you'll find them at the front door. They just, you know, got overcome by smoke or whatever, or sometimes a little bit confused, disoriented, you find them in hallways and trying to get out. And they will also seek shelter, so kids will do that typically more often than adults will, find them under beds and in closets. I know when we go to schools, we always try to tell them, don't hide, try to go outside. Or don't hide, try to go outside. Can't go outside, close your bedroom door. You know, we try to tell those things to them so they're easy to be found when we need to find them. Or hopefully they don't have to be found at all, and they've made it outside. But they definitely hide. We were talking about pets also very much hide. And you'll get people telling you, I have 3 cats and 2 dogs, and you gotta go in and look all sorts of places to find them. So searching the perimeter. So searching the perimeter helps you stay oriented, but also most furniture in most houses, unless you have a really, really big house, is gonna be up against walls. So that's how you're gonna find those things. You're probably not gonna have a couch in the middle of the room, probably, but you just never know. You're reaching completely under beds and furniture, so you wanna use your hands typically when you do that, because the tool's not gonna be able to tell if it's a person or a box or, you know, the leg of the bed or whatever. So using your arms, so your hands can get under there, for the tops of beds and underneath beds, things like that. You just have much more dexterity and you're gonna have more information, you know what it is you're finding. Place your tool against the wall, send your arm or your leg. So again, we're kind of getting away from being in constant contact with the wall. You know where the wall is, you can reach out, put your tool against it to make sure you're still oriented, things like that, but you don't have to be stuck to that wall. Because, I mean, in a room like this, you're gonna miss most of the room, right? But it's a pretty big room. Yeah, so like I said, using your gloved hands as much as possible. You can touch objects, you can tell what they are. Tell if it's bed, tell if it's a sofa, tell if it's a table. Never move objects unless you, again, we've all been in hoarder houses where you have to move them so you can get down the hallway or get anywhere. But for the most part, when you're searching, if you move objects, you're gonna disorient yourself and you're going to block your pathway, right? Most people have their furniture enough so you can walk around it. So VEIS, I'm sure you know this quite a bit. So vent, enter, isolate and search. It is. So it's used in specific situations. You're not gonna VEIS just to do a primary of the second floor, just because. It's typically used when you know where a victim is. So if someone says, hey, you know, our grandma lives with us. She's up on the second floor. She can't really move on her own. Yeah, she's over in this bed. Say, okay. Yeah, I see a little sign, someone to search that room. And you might throw a ladder, break the window, get in there, close that door to isolate her and you from the fire to help with visibility and to protect her as best as possible from all that smoke and heat and everything. If the door's not already closed, when you break the window, you'll probably know pretty quickly if the door's closed or not. Once smoke comes out, probably not closed. There's like no smoke in the room, probably closed. But that's gonna be pretty specific reason why you're gonna use that. Or the other reason I could see is if for whatever reason we can't get to the second floor because the fire's right there at the steps, or it's on the older steps or something. You know, there aren't any steps or something. Some of these houses downtown, with those high hazards and things. So it should be initiated after size up, just meaning you should make sure that there's not another way to get in, a better way, because we all know taking a victim down the ladder is not gonna be easy, no matter who you are, especially if they're a grown adult, who has mobility issues. And you're only gonna wanna use it for survival area, so if there's already fire blowing on a window, you're obviously not gonna VES that, because there's not gonna be anyone alive in that room. And, our gear can't handle, you know, flashovers and just direct and things like that. So, learning objective 4, we're gonna describe victim removal methods. So victim self-evacuation. So in all our big state buildings, we see it all the time. Well, we should, when the fire alarms go off, but we go do our drills. So able-bodied people who probably aren't anywhere near the fire and typically walk out on their own. You might have to go in there and assist them. They may think it's just a drill or something and they'd be like, I'm not gonna go. Cause that's bothersome or it's cold or whatever. So sometimes getting them all to go or making sure they're all going the best way down these protected stairwells and things like that. And making sure that they're not propping any of the doors open on the protected stairways. They shouldn't, it's against fire code. And I know Billy is very big on that when he does all his inspections, but yeah, can't be there all the time. People are still gonna do it. So sheltering in place, in a shelter in place and a hazard minor, when it's safer to keep victims inside, or they can't get out. So this is pretty typical in our hospitals, nursing homes, and like 10 and 12 Jackson is made for them to be sheltered in place. So equal opportunity housing, so, you know, they would have people in wheelchairs and things like that that are up on the 7th floor that can't get down, but have to go later. So their apartments are made to shelter in place. They also have meeting points at the top of some of those stairwells. For those stairwell protected areas as well. I I know recently, Station 3 got a call and they were like, hey, our mom has real bad mobility issues. She's like 90. And our dad has almost got the kitchen on fire like 3 times. So sounds kind of dangerous, but they were like, can you just come out and figure out like how we're gonna, if something happens, how she's gonna get out of the house, what's gonna happen. So we were kind of talking before we left and I said, I think probably the best way would just let us know what room she sleeps in, what window we gotta go through, and to sleep with her door closed and get her to stay in her room. Because she's probably not gonna be able to get herself out. And if she tries, she's probably going to fall or, succumb to the smoke, things like that. She has trouble doing that without her house being on fire. So I went there, we sent her out an email. This is the address, this is the house, this is the window you're going into there. So things like that. We've done that with multiple other people that we run on often, and we kind of had that talk of we have to go in there and get them, there's no way that they can get out and it's gonna be really hard to get them out, so going in there, closing their door, opening the window, making sure they're okay and everything like that, and hopefully the hazard, we can get the fire under control and then we can get them out that way. So victim removal. So victim removal is required when conditions prevent self-evacuation or sheltering in place. So if you're going in doing primary, find an unconscious person on the ground. You can pull them out. Can't get them out, that is the time that you can pull them into a different room and shut the door. But most of the time, we're gonna try to take them out. If we got in for the primary, we can probably get them back out. Where victims are directly threatened, there is nowhere for them to go. There is no shelter in place scenario. They just have to get out. So, our duties for that are gonna be, extinguishing the fire that has cut them off from the exit, so providing alternate exit pathways, so we might go in one way, take them out a window, take them out the back door. Most people are gonna try to leave out their front door if that's the door that they go in all the time. That's just human nature. People are gonna go in the way, or go out the way they came in, and they might forget that, hey, I can go out my back door, or I can get out my window onto my deck or whatever. So again, that's something I always bring up with kids, is what do you do if you can't get to your front door? And they'll say, well, I'll go out my back door. If they all want to jump out the window, that's absolutely what they do, because they think that would be just the coolest thing ever. And then you have to tell them, but you can't practice jumping out of your window. No, don't do that. Only do that if your house is on fire. Okay.
Pop usually prefers coming in the back door.
Everyone.
Distractions will be cracked down on.
So removing debris from pinned victims, so people could get trapped, things to fall on, ceilings, whatnot. Carrying injured or unconscious victims out. So victim removal techniques, which is one of the skills we're gonna be testing on. So shouldn't move people until you've assessed and treated less in danger. So for the most part, again, you're pulling people out of a structure fire. Them being in that house is the danger, so you're gonna pull them out as quick as possible. But if you're just going on a medical call, someone fell, broke their hip, something like that, obviously it's gonna be a much slower process. We're gonna figure out what the best and safest way to get them out of there, coordinate with EMS. They're probably gonna get clean heads and different management like that. But inside a structure fire, you're pulling people out. Because even if, even if they're treatable, they're not treatable inside the structure. So gotta get them outside and get them to EMS. Never pull victims sideways. You might injure them more, and that's just not gonna be convenient for you. Trying to fit people down hallways and through doorways and things like that, they're not gonna fit sideways. So it'll also, like I said, can injure them more. And using proper lifting techniques, so we've all been told 1,000 times, you know. You should brace your back and bend your knees and lift with your legs, you know, and not your back. So try and remember to do that inside a structure fire. So safety guidelines, split to the team, so you're doing a 2-person one, someone coordinates it, again, we see this a lot on the best calls or so. And we're moving people from beds to the stretcher or from the ground or wherever, usually the person at the head will call out the count and then everyone moves at the same time. That helps, you know, that lessens the chance of dropping the person, that also helps keep everyone on the same page, so one person's not lifting a whole bunch and hurting their back while someone else didn't even know we were doing it. For safety for you and the patient. Focusing on keeping your balance, so especially if you're gonna be inside where you can't see. Yeah. You wanna go quick, but you don't wanna go so quick that you're just running into everything and falling over and tripping and possibly hurting yourself, because then you're gonna be no help to that victim. Supporting the head and neck. Again, that's super important on EMS calls. In structure fires, you do wanna watch their head and neck, you know, you don't wanna try to do anything that's gonna hurt them further. But you also wanna get them out of there, cause probably their issues if they're inside a burning building. And avoid unnecessary jostling again, if you're trying to get them out in a rapid motion, you can do your best, but getting them outside is kind of the #1 goal there. So never dragging the victim through the hazard zone unless there is no other choice. So like we talked about in sheltering in place, if you can't get them out to the front door, the back door, wherever, but you can get them into a room and close the door, and then radio, tell the IC, you know, you got a victim in a room, you're gonna need a ladder. Or if they're stable, you might be able to just be in there then until we get the fire under control, if we're close to that, and then be able to take them out. So these are the victim removal techniques. We're gonna go over, you're gonna get tested on the top three. So the incline drag, probably the most common one, where you wrap their arms across their chest and drag them out that way. The extremity lift carry. So one firefighter has underneath their cab there, and the other one very similar to the incline drag, where we're holding down across the chest like that, and you pick them up, carry them out. That would be for, you know, if you're not gonna be able to incline drag them, because there's lots of obstacles in the way, you're gonna have to pick them up and over. You know, in the webbing drag, where you wrap the webbing around their shoulders, pulling out that way, it makes a handle, makes it more similar to how we pull each other out with our SCBA's. Things like that. It can be quick. But that is something you have to practice, because putting webbing on someone inside a building where you can't see is not gonna be the easiest thing. I know I did a training one time in rugby school, and it took all 10 of us to get one person out, and the reason was because they couldn't figure out how to get the drag hooks on them. They actually misplaced them. And finally, as we were the third crew, I was like, if they've already looked, the people who lost them have already looked for 20 minutes and they don't know where they are, I don't think we're gonna find them. So we just use regular webbing and drag them out. So that can be super helpful, but you need to be efficient at it. And then cradle and arms, lift / carry, that's gonna be for small children. And small adults, real small adults, you can do that too. But if you are in a super smoky environment, you don't wanna pick that kid up and put them up in all of that smoke and all those toxins and everything like that. I'm gonna try to keep them as low as possible. And then the sea lifter carried, 2 people facing each other, arms underneath their legs and their back. Carry them out like that. Little litter carry, you probably all done those, usually 4 point them, 2 people at the head, 2 people down at the feet. You just carry them that way in a coordinated effort. And then that is all for the slides. We will have a written test.
The kids. I actually, this kid actually, was there. Searching, riding up on his, found the kid, 59% miles the upside down, but and then kept him on his way. That's- Off the ground, near we stay on.
We're gonna take the written test. We're also going to do some practical skills. So the 2 practical skills we're gonna be testing on are gonna be structural search. You're gonna search a room and look for a victim, find a victim, pull them out. Using one of those carries we just went over. They can do, the incline drag, grabbing their arms across themselves and pulling them out. We're also going to do the drags as part of our practical skills. So you're gonna do the top 3 that were on the slides, the incline drag, 2-person, and the webbing drag. So for the 2-person, obviously 2 you're gonna have to do it together. So when you come in, we'll do the incline drag and the webbing drag. And then we'll bring the next person in, and you 2 can do the 2-person, and then that second person can do the other 2. We'll bring the next person in, you 2 can do the 2-person together. That one. You guys wanna take the written test first, or you wanna do? Yeah.
Since you got rid, how much changes?
For the written test, you can just put your name on the top. You're gonna read the multiple choice question. Pick the best answer. Circle it. Write it down. We'll have you set up here so you guys spread out. And, no cheating off each other, no talking to each other. Obviously, take it on your own. When you're done, you can bring it up to me and step outside. And then we will set up for the practical skills. Actually, when you're done, bring me your test and stay in here. I'll go over what you need for the practical skills. Mhm.
Never heard that last one, but
Let's see.
I'm concentrate as hard as fence click.
You would have heard it if you'd watched the slide.
He was very attentive.
That's security, babe.
All secure. Alright. So for both of these, you guys are gonna have to be in full PPE and CBAs. For the drags, I mean, I'm not gonna make you do that there for that. Just have your SCBA. For your own. So, we go out, get dressed, have a dry out here, we bring it in the bags. We'll do first. Yeah.
It's gone.
No, yeah. We are all still technically in service, so we all still technically in service, so. You know, we can do it too, Charlie. Yep, so if you're ready. I'll read the instructions to you. Uh, So you'll be wearing full protective equipment. You'll be given a patient. There's your patient over there. He's the host, dummy. You shall demonstrate moving the patient. Just move him down there past the end of this table. And you'll be doing a 2-person extremity carry, a webbing drag, and an incline drag without compromising the patient. All 3 must be demonstrated. Just for ease, I'm gonna have you do the incline and the webbing drag before you do the 2-person, because then we'll just get the 2nd person to come in. Okay. So whenever you're ready. Perfect. Yes, you could bring them from side to side and not keep carrying. Sorry, I should have said something.
Oh, good. You want in?
Yeah, whichever one of them wants to come in next, so you guys can do the 2 first.
The must. The must.
You're being given a victim. And you're gonna help him carry it out, 2-person extremity carry. And then you will do the rest of your drag. Perfect. Alright, you're done, Pollard. And then you can, well, you can leave the victim there and just pull him that way. Oh, okay. Alright, so you can do the incline drag and the webbing drag, whichever one you wanna do first.
Incline drag.
Okay,
On patient, making sure that I keep the airway as low as possible. I come underneath patient's arms. All right arm, come underneath. Stay low. Next, I'm gonna do my webbing drag.
I'm already dated January. It's a meeting.
Yeah, you'll need it for the search.
Get my webbing, under my patient. Put the patient up in a seating position. Take my webbing around him, get underneath the arms. And then I have the option of just doing a low crawl, or I have the option of coming more of an incline lift, depending on my conditions. Since my conditions are super clear in here, we're just gonna do a lift.
Excellent. And if you don't mind helping along with this 2-person.
No.
You can just use that webbing on the table too. You
What's that?
can use that webbing on the table when it comes to your webbing drag. First,
It's a little guy. It's a little glue guy.
he was on top.
This is for regular gloves.
Everyone was like, find a fit, man.
My God.
So. Alright, so you're gonna do a 2-person extremity carry. Mitch here's gonna help you. You just tell him what to do and you move down here past this table.
Shoulders, careful.
1, 2, 3, lift.
Some gentle. Good night.
Perfect. Alright, and then you can do the incline drag and the webbing drag, either one you want to do first.
Do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the incline drag first.
Okay.
Good.
Yep.
I know. Just going around the shoulders here, apparently.
Shoulders, buttocks, however you can best do it.
You want maybe?
Ready?
Perfect. Right. You step out there and I'll have all 3 of you searching the team. I'll explain to them when I step out there, I'm gonna move these steps and make them kind of fake walls.
You wanna leave this in here?
Yep, because I'm gonna put a victim in here, just so we don't handle the recording equipment and all that stuff, to keep it something specific area.
Pat?
Yeah.
That really, must be taking a while.
So I moved some of that, I got some. I was. Are you good? And if you guys have one. I'm gonna do one for that. I have some.
Okay, you're doing it. I left it in there. It's not the last week.
That's true. You put me in, you would have to go in and take your time.
All together still. We need lots of stuff with our camera.
You're driving for a long time. Yes.
What are we doing? Are we going good now? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Don't know yet.
It's appropriate.
Back in the door. Well, do a right-handed search. Going right. Clean. Got a desk. Got a Vic. Somebody radio command tell them we got a Vic coming out. Wait from ladder one. Different valve, 26, come back, go back to the door. Back to the door. Back to the six.
Revenue.
Open. All right, there's your crew here. Yeah, go ahead. They're taking the Vic. We're gonna continue our primary search. First. Next letter one. Fixing the door, continue primary search. Go along, go along. It's in the middle of the room. In the area, where you guys at? Over there. Back now. Here. No windows or doors, that's crazy. No windows or doors?
The faith.
March, down march.
How large?
Back to the door. Back to the door. Got part three? Part three. Back to the door, part three. Open the instructor. Command and short team, turn instructor. Primary sleep complete.
Whoa, watch out for the victim.
I'm thinking.
Perfect, good job. Thank you all very much. Come back in and I'll talk about. That's what we did.
Have to take
Yeah,
the door.
yeah. Well, it's a super weird area for continuing through.
It is. It's about a Monday.
Well, just extra test.
What else we gotta do, Miss Merrily?
That's it, I'm gonna go over. Only this question. Once my shit's in here, we'll kind of wrap things up. We should be good to go, we'll put the tables back and, yeah. Right, you're all passed, you know, they're very good on your search. And drags, the only thing was on the webbing drag, on the skill sheet, it wanted you to go under their legs. But going into their arms is just as efficient, and you still got them out and hit everything else, so you still pass.
I did the legs, you guys didn't do the legs? That's embarrassing.
You did not do the
Yeah.
legs. Nah.
Yeah,
You did. Yeah, you did. You straight up with legs. You did it exactly how it is on the paper, pulled the big loops and everything.
You guys are
You
idiots.
didn't say hasty comments.
I didn't, it just said webbing drag.
Whether you got that drug with it.
Take
Uh,
it back tomorrow, Merrily.
And the commonly missed question on the written test was 8, where should you start the search on the fire floor? And a lot of you guys answered C, where the victims are most likely to be, but it's actually B. That's close to the fire.
Close to the fire spot. Y'all didn't get that? No. Weird.
Why would you not start where the victims are most likely to be? That's just
If you're searching the fire floor, they're saying, you wanna search.
where the victims are gonna be.
Well, yeah, if you
Yeah,
magic,
results.
if you have a magic 8-ball, you know exactly where they are, I'd go there,
That's true.
but. You wanna start close to the fire, because they're obviously most in danger. They're further away in an effective room, it's probably sheltering in place, good to go, right? Thank you guys very much for being down here, I know it's been a long day.
Yours went by quick and a lot, the first one.
First one really beat you down.
Hey, Marge, now you gotta do the scary thing and shoot the button off.
Oh, it's super scary, it does not seem correct. I'll spell for you.
Keep going sideways.
Hey, March. Says hey, March.
Hey, Marge. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, wiggle it just right.
Yeah, that's right. So end meeting,
That one. Yes.
end meeting?
I don't even wanna say, cause I don't, I'm
It's in maybe.
pretty sure it's in meeting, but I'm too scared to tell you.